The woman just finished her shower.
Hello, Mrs. Danvers.
The thug grabs the woman with one hand, knocks her unconscious with a vase.
Please. I'm pregnant.
When the detective husband arrived, his wife was already lifeless.
He's not working.
Looking at the thug's provocative face, the husband was filled with rage, but he still couldn't pull the trigger. Instead, he collapsed beside his wife's body, crying helplessly. 3 years ago, the thug, Victor, was arrested by Detective Mason Danvers, but no one expected that. The first thing Victor did after getting out of prison was to kill Mason's wife, as revenge. After his wife's death, Mason's dream of becoming a detective to clean up the streets no longer mattered. Now, he only wanted revenge for his wife. One night, he grabbed his weapons, drove to one of Victor's hideouts, and called his police colleagues, telling him his location.
You know why I'm here?
Yeah. Because you don't have a wife to go home to.
After sending everyone to hell, Mason's police colleagues arrived. He asked why Mason did it. Mason didn't answer, but threw down his weapon and knelt down. Mason was sent to prison for intentional murder, which was exactly what he wanted, because the man who killed his wife, Victor, was now in prison. The moment Mason arrived, he was taken to the warden's office. The warden warned him. Unlike everyone outside who saw him as a hero, the people here were all criminals. As a former cop, Mason was an enemy to everyone. So, the warden asked if Mason would cooperate with him to maintain the prison system. To show sincerity, he gave Mason a light job in the laundry room, but Mason showed no interest in cooperating. Meanwhile, Victor found out that Mason was in prison. Even though he knew his hideout had been destroyed, he wasn't worried.
Let's get one thing straight. This is my house.
The next day, while Mason was working in the laundry room, even though Mason was skilled, he was outnumbered and knocked to the ground. Just then, a guard ran in, and Mason narrowly escaped. A few days later, while Mason was out for some air, he talked to a guard and learned that, even though Victor had only been in prison for a year, he had already built a network, including smuggling items inside the prison and handling connections outside the prison. But Mason didn't care. Even if it cost him his life, he would get revenge for his wife. One night, he pulled a pen from under his bed, sharpened it. Then he went to the bathroom, where he ambushed one of the prisoners who had attacked him in the laundry room. Even though the prisoner was badly hurt, Mason still didn't have the upper hand. The pen was getting closer to his throat. Luckily, the prisoner lost too much blood and collapsed. After dealing with him, Mason set his sights on another prisoner. As the man was sweeping, Mason attacked.
Ain't so bad without your boys, huh?
In the end, the man lost his breath under the broomstick. When Victor found out his men were being killed one by one, he decided to send his best enforcers to ambush Mason. But Mason was in a blood frenzy and couldn't stop. Just as the prisoner was about to die, Mason was knocked down by a guard. He was then taken to the warden's office, where the warden offered him a deal. If Mason became his enforcer, helping him take out people he wanted gone, the warden wouldn't care about Mason's actions in prison. At that moment, Mason realized that Victor's power in prison must have come from a deal with the warden. So, being a former cop, he refused by walking away. The angry warden locked Mason in solitary confinement. After Mason came out of solitary, he went to the laundry room. While no one was looking, he took a metal piece from the heating pipe above, hid it in his clothes. That night, he turned it into a brass knuckle. He continued taking out Victor's men. When Victor heard his men were still being killed, he couldn't take it anymore. While Mason was getting his food, Victor pulled out a knife and walked toward him. Mason, noticing, punched a nearby guard in the face, and while he was arrested, he successfully avoided the attack. So, Mason was thrown back into solitary confinement once again. After coming out of solitary, Mason decided to take out Victor's last man, before finally facing Victor. More and more people joined the fight, but Mason kept getting stronger. Even when they came at him with knives, he wasn't afraid. He merely used a rope to throw the last man off the roof. After the guards were killed, the prisoners grabbed the guards' guns and started a riot. All the guards were fighting the prisoners, and the entire prison was in chaos. Victor, taking a gun from his men, started shooting at Mason, but every shot hit a different prisoner. Once Mason got close, the two began to fight hand to hand.
You really want to know what it felt like to be your wife that night? Let me show you.
But because of their size difference, even with all of Mason's strength, his hits barely hurt Victor. However, Victor's punches made Mason struggle to recover. Until Mason saw his chance and knocked Victor down. Just when Mason was about to get his revenge, the warden broke the balance. He wouldn't allow Mason to rule the prison, but Mason was a cop. If he died at the warden's hands, it would be hard to explain. So the warden gave the gun to Victor, hoping he would kill Mason. At that moment, Mason told Victor that the warden was the one who provided his men's positions. Furious, Victor kicked the warden's leg, breaking it, and the two started fighting again. Facing the overwhelming strength of Victor, Mason had no strength left to fight. But unexpectedly, Victor didn't finish Mason off right away. Instead, he started his villain monologue.
Say hi to your wife and kid for me.
Mason seized the opportunity, pulled out the weapon he had hidden earlier, and ended it. Afterward, he made sure to deliver a final blow. He finally avenged his wife and the unborn child. Do you love your family?